Is Corinne Rusch-Drutz, and I am the Director of Communications and Membership Development at YWCA Canada. YWCA Canada is the largest women's organization in Canada. We try to see women's experience holistically, so we help women intervene on their own behalf when they are in a crisis situation, and we try and give them the tools, the counseling, and the skills that they need in order to prevent further crisis in the future. We welcome women of all faiths, all nationalities, all colors, all sexualities, all creeds, and we try to help women intervene in a way that is meaningful for them. But part of that intervention is also early intervention and prevention. And so that is why for us the key work that we do is not only with women but with girls, both in our advocacy efforts and in our programming on the ground. And so we are one of the largest providers of programs for girls only. There's a real dearth of programming for girls in Canada, with the exception of cheerleading and, you know, classic sporting activities for girls. There's not a lot of programming that exists at the pan-Canadian level that focuses on girls' self-empowerment in a safe space for girls only. And so what we try and do with our girls-based programming, which is a national program, is to speak to girls about key issues that affect them, including violence, self-empowerment, loving your own body, and learning the resources, tools, and skills that you need as you grow up. So we try and get to girls early. We offer programming as early as 8, and that goes up until 18 when they enroll in Young Women's Programming. And our primary goal is to instill a sense of leadership and self-empowerment, so that girls have an understanding that they have rightful ownership to their own place in the world, and that they have basic rights as human beings, and that they are human rights. Not special girls' rights, that they're human rights. And we try and get girls to have an understanding of the way they exist within that context by offering them a program that's going to make them feel good about themselves and learn to recognize the skills that they need in order to navigate some of that rocky terrain, particularly in the tender years between grade school and high school. Those are some of the really tricky periods, and we feel from our perspective that if we see girls young enough in our programs and offer them early prevention and intervention, that we're way less likely to see them in some of our other counseling and support programs later on. And that for us is a big difference in our programming. In Canada, there is a real invisibility about violence against women. It's definitely considered to be a women's problem that women need to take care of, as opposed to a systemic issue that exists. And we try and offer services for girls that empower them in a way that they won't become part of those statistics, where in Canada we know that over 50% of women experience violence at some point in their life, and the majority of them experience it before the age of 25. And of that group, the majority of girls are in grades 9 and 10. So we know that if we need to be effective in our programming, both from an advocacy perspective and from a direct service perspective, that we need to talk about the issue, to make it public, and to do public advocacy work on creating policies that will change that. But we also need to approach it from a programming level in order to encourage girls to get the skills that they need in order to make their own changes in their own futures. And if you're interested in more information about YWCA's girls programming, you can visit www.ywcacanada.ca.